Hi guys, my name is Chloe, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be going through all of the series that I need to read. So today I'm going to be going through all the series that I've started and not yet finished, because that's one of my goals for the year really, is to prioritise series that I've already started and try my best not to start new series if I can. And I'm filming this at the perfect time because Steph over at Steph Loves just announced the final book support group, which is a little community type thing she's hosting mainly on Discord and Twitter, where you can sort of get together and encourage each other to finish those books in the series that you need to read. And I thought that's an incredible idea, and so it makes sense to release this video with all of the series that I have started and not yet finished, and then I'm going to do my best over this year to get that finished and hopefully join in some of the readathons that's going to be taking place. So yeah, let's get into it. So my list is a little bit shorter than it would have been if I did this at the end of the last year, going into the new year, because I knew I wanted to finish up my unread series. What I did was I made a list, and of the series that I knew I had to reread books for. So for example, I've read the first 2 books in the Darkest Shade of Magic series, but I've forgotten all about them, so when I go back to that series, I'm going to have to start from the beginning. So for those instances, I've removed those from my list, and then when I pick up that series again, it will go back on the list. There's no point having it on here if I'm just going to have to backtrack and reread all of the other books again anyway, so those have been removed. So my list is a little bit shorter, but I still got quite a few series on here, so let's get started. So I've tried to organise this video a little bit. So the first group of books are series that I'm up to date with, but they're not finished, and most of them have books coming out this year at some point, so I will have to read them as they come out, but for now I am up to date with these series. So the first one is the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. I've read all the books in this one so far and really loved it. This one is a fantasy romance around the mythology behind King Midas, but there's a twist to that, and there's so much more to it than that, and it's really interesting and completely not what I was expecting, and I loved it. And yeah, I can't wait to get into the next one. So the next one is Gilded by Marissa Meyer. This is the only book in the series so far, but she has announced a book 2 coming out later this year. So for now I'm up to date. This one is also a fantasy romance, but more YA, and it's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. And we follow the main character Cerilda, and she is cursed and can only tell lies. And so she ends up in a situation where she's compromised and ends up in a ghost castle trying to spin gold, because she just can't keep her mouth shut really, and it was really interesting and I can't wait to carry on. The next series I'm up to date with is the From Blood and Ash series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So I've read all 3 of these so far, and I can't wait for the next one. I've also been reading some of the prequel series, so this is one of my most anticipated continuations that I'll be getting to this year. But I think most people know what From Blood and Ash is about, but it's another fantasy romance, and we follow Poppy, who's the maiden, and she's not allowed to interact with anyone, and then she's assigned a new guard, Hawk, and the plot basically goes from there. And the last series that I'm currently up to date with is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. I've read the first 2 books in this series, so up to date, and the next one hopefully should be out this year. This is also another fantasy romance, another YA one. It's a bit of a theme. Really got into the fantasy romance genre last year. So those were all of the series that I am currently up to date with, but will need to finish probably later this year as the new books come out. So next we are going to go into series that have now been completed. So all of them have been published, but I am not up to date with them. So first I've got a couple of ebooks and audiobook series that I've started, so I don't have anything to show now. The first one is the Impossible Julian Strand series by Catherine Ann Kingsley. This one is about a girl who gets a job in this haunted house, basically as a tour guide. So yeah, we start off with her, and it turns out that the ghost is real and is very attracted to the main character. So it's basically a ghost romance, and it's great. I'm currently on the second book now, and it's a duology, so this one will be an easy one to check off the list. The next series that I need to finish is the Filthy American series by Nikki Sloan. This is a contemporary romance. I have read the first 2 books and I need to read the 3rd book in this trilogy. So our main character, if I can remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read these ones, she ends up having to marry this rich guy because her sister falls ill, and so she has to marry him instead. But before she marries him, she has to go up against a board of his dad's business colleagues, I think, and they have to apparently judge her before she can get married, and the plot goes from there. The next series I need to finish is the Wicked Villain series by Katie Robert. So far I have only read the first 2 books in this series, and this whole series as a whole is basically Disney for adults. So we have our heroes, and they usually end up falling in love with the villains, and this is all set in a modern day world. So for example, Hades is running a club, but yeah, the ebooks are quite expensive though, so I don't pick them up very often, but I definitely want to finish this one off. The next series is the Cursebreaker series by Bridget Kemmerer. I have read the first 2 books in this series so far and still need to pick up the 3rd one. I've been putting this one off for a bit because I really enjoyed book 1, and book 2 was just very... This might have been because I was listening to it on audiobooks, and I don't listen to those regularly all the time. Sometimes if I'm commuting it'll be music, sometimes it'll be an audiobook, and I think I left too long of a gap between book 1 and book 2, so there was a bit of a disjoint there, and I had to sort of sort out in my head what was going on, so that might play into it. But yeah, hopefully I can finish that one off as well. The next series is the Tudor Queen series by Alison Ware. So far I've read the first 3 books in this series, and there are 6 books in this series overall, 1 for each of Henry VIII's wives. This one's really great. It's historical fiction, and it just follows the wives of Henry VIII before they met him, their lives with him, and how this leads to their eventual death. The last series in this category is the Morganville Vampires series by Rachel Kane. I have read all of this series before. This is a reread for me, and on my reread I have got up to book 7 of 15 in this series. So even though I love it, I'm obviously prioritising new releases or things I haven't read before, which is why this one is taking me a while, but I still would like to see it out. It's one of my favourite vampire series of all time. In this one we follow Claire Danvers. She's a university student living in dorms, but the girls in her dorms aren't very nice, and so she decides to get a place to stay outside of campus, away from all of this drama, and so she ends up rooming at the Glass House, and she finds out that the town is filled with vampires, and yeah, the plot goes from there really. There's other paranormal aspects in this as well. There's a few ghosts, vampires. I can't remember if we see werewolves or not, it's been a while. But yeah, that's that one. The last category is book series that are currently unfinished. So not all of the books have been published yet, but I know that there's going to be more. The first one I'm listening to on audiobook, and that is the Drowning Empire series by Andrea Stewart. Book 1 is the Boneshar Daughter, which I recently finished in January, and it's really great. It's a multi-perspective fantasy set in a world where the islands are starting to sink, and the Emperor can wield bone magic and make these constructs out of the bone shards that he's harvesting from his population. And we follow a variety of characters, including Lynn, the Emperor's daughter, as she goes on her journey to understand her father's magic. And yeah, it's just a really good time. I'm currently halfway through the second book, which is the most recent one out, so I should be up to date soon. The next series is the Lock Tomb series by Ware. I have read Gideon the Ninth, which is the first book, and halfway through the second book, and once I finish that, then it will just be waiting for a new series to come out. In this book we follow Gideon as she accompanies Harrow from the Ninth House as they undertake a series of challenges for her to become a stronger necromancer. This one's really great, it's really fun, and I can't wait to finish the series out, but it's going to be annoying to wait for book 3. The next series is the Wayward Children's series by Mcguire. So far I've read the first 3 books and I own all of the ones that are currently out, and these are nice and short novellas, so I'm hoping that soon I can get around to finishing the series pretty quickly. And this one's gorgeous, and each book is just so whimsical and lovely, and it follows a colourful cast of characters, and yeah, I'm really excited to get back into this series. The next series is the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I am currently halfway through book 2, and then it will be a case of waiting for the next one to come out. So yeah, that should be another easy one to get ticked off. I think most people know what Crescent City is. In this one we follow Bryce, who's a half-fae, in this urban fantasy world as she goes around Crescent City trying to solve a series of murders. This one's full of twists and turns and mystery, and it's incredible, and there's romance in this and magic, and yeah, it's a really strong urban fantasy book, and I'm excited to finish book 2. And the last series that I need to finish is the Skullduggery Pleasant series by Clandy. I am currently making my way through the, second series. Books 1 to 9 were released quite a while ago, then the author had a break and then come out with the new series, which is kind of why I think of them as series 1 and series 2. But the final book in this one comes out in April, I think, so it's very close, and yeah, I will be finishing Skullduggery Pleasant this year for the final time, and that's kind of sad because I don't think he'll come back with a third series, I don't think. But yeah, this one basically, this is book 1 in the second series, so the one that I'm currently finishing out, and in this series we follow Skullduggery Pleasant and Valkyrie Kane as they save the world from these villains and events. And in this arc we also follow Omen Darkly, who's currently attending school to learn his magic and become the best magician that he can be, but he's a bit of a klutz and he doesn't really know what he's doing all of the time. So it's great to follow him and get a new perspective compared to Valkyrie and in the first series, where she just seemed so competent most of the time, really. But yeah, this one's great and I can't wait to finish it, but I also don't want it to end. So those are all of the series that I need to finish, whether I am up to date or the series are ongoing. But yeah, I'm hoping with the introduction of Steph's new book group especially, that I can get as many of them finished as I can this year in 2022. I think really I would like to finish off as many as I can, but the main goal is not to add to that list. I want to stay at this number or less. I don't want to be added on new series, but because most of them are quite close to being finished, I'm pretty sure I could maybe try to at least half my list. Yeah, I think half in my series I need to finish list will be my goal. So how many is that? Okay, so I think I had 13 series that I need to finish. So let's say that I need to read, I'm going to try and read 7 of them by the end of 2022. of the ones that I've got in this video. And what might be fun is this time next year or in the new year, I will watch this back and see how I did, see if I finished out these series or if they're still sat around needing to be finished. But yeah, that's all for today. Let me know down below if you need to finish any of these series, or if you've finished these series and you think they're really good, because hopefully that will encourage me to get to them sooner. But that's all for now. Bye!